What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another One Piece review. The Voyage continues with episode 1099. So if you'd like to join the council and become a part of the crew, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single upload. Ladies and gentlemen, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. All right, everybody. Hope everybody's doing super fantastic. Thank you all for joining me for another One Piece review. I'm sorry for last week missing the 1098 discussion, but I was sick. But fear not, because we're back this week. So this week, I'm bringing to you the 1098 and the 1099 discussion. But before we get into that, there is some One Piece related news that I want to discuss that came out here recently. So the One Piece manga is officially on a 3-week break right now, and it will return on April the 22nd. But we also got an official statement from Oda that I want to read a little bit of that statement that he gave us, as well as discuss some stuff in this statement that he said. So starting us off with the statement here. Okay, so I'm taking 3 weeks for myself. Yes, this is coming on the heel of the news about Toriyama sensei. Yes, this could cause some unnecessarily excessive panic, but I am not unwell, and while it does not have to do with my body, consider this a type of scheduled maintenance rather than anything else. More importantly, I think it's time I start figuring out what the One Piece actually is. That's going to keep me quite busy, I'll have you know. Sounds severe, but no big deal, right? So that's the part of the news I want to talk about, right? The whole part where Oda sensei is talking about that it's time for him to actually start thinking about what the One Piece is. Now, he says it's no big deal, but is it really no big deal, Oda? I'm hoping it's no big deal. I'm gonna trust you, Oda. You know, I'm hoping, you know, after 25 years, you just ain't been sitting around not thinking about, you know, what the One Piece is the entire time. I'm pretty sure, you know, you got this grand idea of kind of what it is, you know, but you probably just never really just sat down and hammered it all the way out. So you know, that's probably that's what he got to go and figure out, he said. But hopefully that is the case. You know, he always had kind of some broad ideas, but he never really knew what he wanted it to be. But now I guess it's finally time for him to go ahead and nail down the details of all that. But it's still kind of weird to even think about that he really doesn't fully know what he wants it to be yet after, you know, 25 years. I guess that's kind of concerning a little bit, but nonetheless, I'm gonna trust Oda to carry us on through. But you know, the One Piece is gonna have to be itself. You know, the One Piece itself is gonna have to be something crazy. You know, it can't be nothing like the friends we made along the way, and I'm pretty sure, you know, it's not gonna be nothing like that. But whatever it is, a lot more than likely people aren't gonna be happy to begin with, and I don't know. I don't know what Oda's got cooking, but like I said before, I'm just gonna leave my faith in him. He ain't been steering me wrong so far. So Oda, I'm gonna trust you that you, like you said, that it's no big deal, and you know, we're just gonna keep it pushing. But with all that being said, everybody, let's hop into our first discussion of the day. We're gonna start with the highlights of 1098. One Piece episode 1098, The Eccentric Dream of a Genius. So I have 3 major highlights from this episode that I want to discuss. But before that, the question of the week is, who is your favorite Straw Hat? Me personally, some of my favorite Straw Hats are Zoro, Chopper, and Brook. So let me know down below in the comments, who is your favorite Straw Hat? All right, so for the first major highlight from 1098 I have for you today is the giant robot and the ancient energy source. So in this episode, Dr. Vegapunk further explains that the giant robot in the scrapyard actually attacked Marie Joie 200 years ago, and this is the same year that fishmen were granted rights. Now, I'm not sure how these two events correlate to each other, but we do know that the Fishman Island does have ties to the Void Century. You know, that's where we first learned about Joy Boy, as well as you know, the poneglyph about Joy Boy is down there as well. And this is also the first time we've seen Luffy actually delve deeper into the true nature of his devil fruit, because you know, this is the first time we've seen him use Red Hawk during the series, right? So as we all know now, that's more than likely an extension of his true devil fruit, you know, the sun god, Nika, and all that stuff like that. So yeah, that's cool. But to continue on, Dr. Vegapunk further goes on to explain how one day he wants to create a world where everyone can get energy for free. The more he tries to create the energy he seeks, he gets closer to the ancient energy source that powered the giant robot. So to understand more, he delved deep into the history of the Voyage century, and somehow the government found out about this information and sent CP0 to take him out. Now, this is a very, very cool fact, because not only did the ancient civilization, right? Not only did the advanced kingdom have all this cool, advanced, and powerful tech, right? They also had access to this unknown energy source. And so, if I was to theorize here for a second and kind of connect it to my Lunarian theory, right? It would be cool if the energy source was actually the flames of the Lunarians, because essentially their bodies emit like an eternal flame. So that'd be kind of cool for an energy source. But also in this episode, Jinbei made a mention how wars are fought over energy and sources of energy and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if this unknown energy source that the advanced kingdom had, if this was also one of the reasons why the first 20 slash the celestial dragons wanted to fight the advanced kingdom to kind of maybe take control of this powerful energy source, right? That'd be cool to learn more about and to see and understand if maybe this was one of the reasons why they also fought that war as well. But moving on from there to our next major highlight. All right, so for the second major highlight, we got an update on the Revolutionary Army. So halfway through the episode, we get another update on the Revolutionary Army. Kuma has awoken, and without speaking a single word, he rushes off the island using his pawpaw fruit powers. So to me, it only makes sense that our boy Kuma is actually heading to Egghead Island. I mean, where else would he be going at this point? But the real question is, does he have control of his mind and actions again, or is he still being controlled? And on top of all that, we are still waiting on the answer from Dr. Vegapunk himself on why he actually did modify Kuma, if they were actually friends and allies. We're still waiting on the answer, because that still baffles me now that we know that both him and Dragon were allies. Yeah, so you better have a good reason, a very, very, very good reason, Dr. Vegapunk. But I think a cool way that Kuma could intervene and add some relevancy to the story, right, is I think he can actually be the one to deal with the Kuma Seraphim, because I don't know, the Kuma Seraphim is going to be a problem, right? Let's just call it like it is. The Kuma Seraphim is going to be a problem. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that unless Vegapunk has like a shutdown code or maybe something he can activate, right? But other than that, I think one of the easiest ways to deal with the Seraphim Kuma is for Kuma himself to actually deal with them. So I think that'll be cool. But yeah, so moving on to the last major highlight for 1098. The last major highlight for 1098 is none other than CP0 themselves. CP0 has arrived and they are requesting permission to land on Egghead Island. Dr. Vegapunk swiftly denies them access and asks them to leave, but CP0 is not taking no for an answer. It seems that over the past 2 months, numerous Cypher Pole ships that have come to Egghead have not returned. Alright, so no, this is hella interesting because Dr. Vegapunk doesn't seem to know anything about this. So was CP0 lying about this to kind of, fool them to get on the island? Or is Dr. Vegapunk hiding something similar like that? Or is this the work of Cross Guild? We know that Cross Guild is the new, Navy Hunters group led by Yonko Buggy, right? Is this the work of Cross Guild? Are they potentially targeting Cypher Post ships slash government ships that are leaving out of Egghead Island? That'll be interesting as well to find out if this was actually due to the work of Cross Guild. So yeah, this could be due to them. But shortly after being denied entry into Egghead, CP0 forces themselves onto the island using the pawpaw fruit power of the Kuma Seraphim. Now, things are finally starting to heat up on Egghead Island. CP0 has touched down. It's starting to heat up now, boy. It's starting to heat up. So let's go ahead and hop into the 1099 discussion. One Piece episode 1099, preparations for interception. Rob Lucci strikes. All right, so for just like 1098, for 1099, I got 3 major highlights that I want to discuss, and it's just simply the three main members of CP0, and we're gonna start off with Stussy. But before we get to her, I want to talk about some new information that we learned about CP0. Right, so CP0 only works on direct orders from the Celestial Dragons. When they move, it's said to be an omen of a major historical event. That's Oda Sensei right there with a little bit of foreshadowing there. So it seems like Egghead is going to be another major historical event happening here on Egghead, as well as to add some validity to this statement, right? The prior times we've seen CP0, I think the two prior times we've seen them in the series was both Dressrosa and Wano, right? And both times major historical events did happen in both those places. So I guess it's safe to say they're living up to the Omen so far, right? But I also, at this point, I want to mention how the Seraphim are being sent out to fight CP0, and they are being led by Sentomaru. Now, this is actually hella interesting because, you know, Sentomaru is the guy that was trying to stop the Straw Hats back in the Sabado Archipelago, right? Him along with the Admiral, right? So he was one of the main guys that was trying to stop the Straw Hats, especially during the time skip, right? You know, he was front and center waiting for the Straw Hats to come back and try and get on their boat to head to Fisherman Island, right? So it's kind of weird that he's gonna willingly fight against CP0. Kind of, you know, find that weird, especially, you know, if he's on the side of the government. So did Dr. Vegapunk win him over, or did he turn Sentomaru into a cyborg as well, or is Sentomaru actually a motherfucking secret member of the Revolutionary Army? That'd be wild as hell. That'd be wild as hell. But yeah, it's just super weird to me that Sentomaru will willingly go fight CP0 like this. But nonetheless, moving on to Stussy, right? Stussy seems to be pretty familiar with Future Island and its capabilities. She tells us about the Labophase defense systems, the Frontier Dome, which is a laser defense system that encircles all of the Labophase, right? So it's worth mentioning also at this point that our boy Dr. Vegapunk is safely back at the Labophase now. This man teleported back to the lab, leaving Luffy and the others, on the mainland on the island to mess with CP0 and them, unfortunately. But yeah, that's cool. This man, of course, Dr. Vegapunk has transportation technology. There we go. Almost blanked out there. But what's going to be really interesting is to find out the dynamic between Stussy and Vegapunk, and, you know, learn why Stussy knows so much about the island. Maybe it's just because it could just be a simple fact because you know this is a government island, and maybe Stussy has visited the island many times, right? And so that's probably why she knows a lot. So, you know, it could just be as simple as that. But I'm definitely interested to see the connection between Stussy and Dr. Vegapunk. But moving on from there, we're gonna go into Kaku now, and not much to say about Kaku, but stick with me now. This is one fight I'm hoping to see in Egghead. I'm hoping to see Sanji versus Kaku in Egghead, because we got robbed of this shit in Enies Lobby. Let me tell you, Kaku was the perfect matchup for Sanji in Enies Lobby, and somehow my man ended up fighting a goddamn wolf out of all places, right? Well, I don't know why we let I don't know why we let Zoro fight Kaku instead of the wolf. We could have just let Zoro fight the wolf and then let Sanji have Kaku. But nonetheless, hopefully, you know, this wrong can be righted. Hopefully we get the fight that we deserved. Kaku versus Sanji. It's only right that we get this fight, this series. Please let me know if you agree with me with this down below in the comments, if we should get this fight, this arc right here, Sanji versus Kaku. All right, and last but not least, the man himself, Rob Lucci. And right off the bat, I got two things to say. First off, one, Lucci did not have to do Atlas like that. All right, just gonna call it how it is. My boy Lucci did not have to do Atlas like that, even though he looked clean as hell bodying Atlas. He did not have to do Atlas like that. That was uncalled for. My man went into man beast form and everything. He wasted no time. He hit it with a full power blast, completely uncalled for. I believe you could have did the same amount of damage without, you know, having to go man beast form and inflicts your shit. All right, Lucci, calm down, sir. All right, calm the hell down. But number two, not next week, this fucking weekend is gonna be a goddamn movie, everybody. All right, so you know, little me here was I thinking, oh, you know, we already done got Gear 5 introduced, right? So you know, it's gonna be more of a common thing. You know, the animators aren't gonna go too hard on Gear 5. You know, it's still gonna look good, of course, but it's not gonna be as flashy as it was, and you know, in the Wano finale and all that shit, right? Boy, was I motherfucking wrong. Right, because the 1099, the preview for 1100, and I can't believe it. We're at 1100 episodes for One Piece already. It feels like, you know, 1000 was just yesterday, but motherfucking 1100 looks phenomenal. The return of Gear 5 as well. What better way to celebrate episode 1100 than with the return of Gear 5? Freaking amazing, right? But not only is it the return of Gear 5 next episode, right? We're also going to get to see a new awakening. We're gonna get to see Lucci do his awakening, and actually want to talk about that a little bit, right? So, you know, in Wano we learned that, you know, for devil fruit users to awaken their devil fruit, quote unquote, right? They have to, their mind and body has to catch up with their powers. That's what, you know, that's what Kato told us, right? So if we're going by that sense, right, for Lucci's awakening, you know, it said that Lucci awakens the madness of a wild beast, right? So I'm assuming for, you know, his mind and his body to catch up to something like that, and for him to awaken the madness of a wild beast, Lucci has probably both done and seen some horrible things since we last seen him. You know, definitely since he's been working for the Celestial Dragons. We already know how they get down as well. So there's no telling the type of things Lucci has had to do in order to awaken his devil fruit. You know, I guess in a sense to become, you know, one with his devil fruit and, you know, awaken the madness of a wild beast, right? You know, so that's just something to think about. But, you know, next, I cannot wait for this rematch. Please let me know down below in the comments. Let me know how hyped you guys are for this rematch. Rob Lucci versus Luffy part 2, and it's with an awakenings, baby. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for it. So, and also I'm gonna spit a little here real quick. So for the fighting episodes in One Piece, I was thinking about doing reactions. I don't know, we'll have to see how it goes, but we might have to handle the fighting episodes for One Piece a little bit different. I don't know, we'll work something out though. But nonetheless, definitely hell excited for Lucci versus Luffy part 2. Can't wait for that this weekend. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thank you all for joining me today. I will see you all next week. Peace.